Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm sorry I've been gone for a little while. It's been a little crazy here, lots going on, but I've gotten 3 videos done ready for you guys to see. So check out the first one. It is going to be showing you how we make one of our family's favorite soups. My family's never been super big on soups, but this is a hamburger stew, and I got the recipe from another YouTuber, and I thought it sounded so well that I thought I'd give it a try, and when I did, my family loved it. So it's getting kind of warm, not really soup time, but sometimes just a bowl of soup, it hits the spot. So check out that video and leave a comment below and let me know what you think. All right, this soup has carrots, onion, potatoes. It also has ground beef, tomato paste, Italian seasoning, and a beef broth base in water. So super simple to put together. So I'm going to start by adding in the water to the crock pot. I've already got my crock pot turned on. I do that as I'm prepping everything to get it warmed up. Usually this soup will cook for about 6 to 8 hours on high, and then it's ready to go. You can do it on low as well, but I just do it on high. It seems to work. So with the 8 cups of water, I'm going to add in the beef broth base. Now you can actually use like packaged beef broth, homemade beef broth if you had it. I have found that after watching another YouTuber use this and checking it out, it actually is a really great substitute. You can get a lot more bang for your buck. And so it is actually at my local Walmart $3 for this container, and it gives you 56 cups of broth. So as you can see, I've added in so far 5 tablespoons. I think it's going to be 6. Let me see. I can't remember. It's been a little while since I did this to set up. Yep, just 6. So go ahead and whisk it together. And that's the beef broth that I used. And then I'm going to add in my Italian seasoning. From here, it's going to be, you can, add in just 1 tablespoon. You could also add in 2. It's really up to you. Now, again, this recipe is a double recipe. I like to do that because we will eat half of it, and then I will put the other half in the freezer, and it freezes really, really well. And then I can just pull it out on a night where I know it's going to be hectic. So from here, we're going to add in the tomato paste. It's just 2 small cans of tomato paste, and just scoop it out and put it in. And you will, once you're done with this, you will whisk it up just to get it all broken down. Again, that tomato paste adds a richness to the soup that you definitely need. You could add in tomato sauce if you want, but it's not going to give you quite the same richness that tomato paste will, because it's more concentrated in flavor. All right, once all of your tomato paste is into the crock pot, you're going to go ahead and whisk it up. And again, this just helps break it down and just evenly distributes it throughout the beef broth base. Once you're done with that, you're just going to set it aside, and we're going to move on to the ground beef. You definitely want to make sure that you brown the ground beef in a saucepan. You don't want to add it raw to the soup. I know that it would cook in the crock pot, but you just want to go ahead and get it browned up. So I'm adding in my 2 pounds of ground beef into the saucepan. And again, keep in mind, this is a double recipe that I usually always double. Again, we will eat half of it for dinner, maybe a little bit for lunch the next day, but then I freeze the rest for another quick meal. Like I said, if we have lots going on and I just know by the time it gets to dinner I am not going to feel like making anything, then that is when I will go ahead and pull this out and put it in the crock pot. And so we are coming into spring, almost summer-like temperatures here in Florida. So soup is not something that we're going to want to eat a whole lot of, but it's still a really great option for just that quick and simple, dinner that you can throw in the crock pot and not have to worry about it. So, all right, I am just using my little meat press to kind of break up the ground beef to get it started. I am going to go ahead and get it all browned up, and then once that is done, we're going to go ahead and stick it all into the crock pot. All right, so while my ground beef is browning, I'm going to go ahead. I've already peeled my carrots and now I'm going to chop them up. Now, I do more of a thicker cut on my carrots along with the potatoes as well, just because that way, if they're too thin, by the time everything is cooked through, they could get really mushy. So, doing a little bit thicker cut does allow the carrots to hold up through the cooking process, and then they won't become mushy when it comes time to eat soup, because I don't know about you guys, but I definitely don't like a mushy carrot. So I'm going to go ahead and get the rest of these carrots cut up, and then we're going to move on to the potatoes. All right, now that my carrots are done, I'm going to move on to actually the onion. I think I said potato in the last clip, but it looks like it's actually the onion. Now, typically this recipe, I actually don't put onions in it. I'm not sure what I was thinking when I initially pulled everything out. I guess I just thought I did. And so it wasn't until after I already chopped up the onion, added it in, and then realized that I don't ever do that. So, not that an onion hurts, you can absolutely add in the onion. But you can also just omit it, and it's perfectly fine to not have the onion in there. However, our youngest daughter, who likes the flavor of onion but doesn't like to actually eat onions, she is definitely my child. I'm like that with certain things too. She did not like the onions in there, and in fact picked them all out. So the next time I make this soup, will definitely leave the onions out. But if you love onions and you have no problem with them being in your soup, you can definitely go ahead and add those in, and you'll be good. Now, as you can see, I've done a rough chop on the onion, and I just added in one whole onion to the soup. You could add more if you wanted to, but that's up to you. And now I'm going to just go ahead and move on to the potatoes. And as you can see, I've got yellow, like Yukon Gold, actually, excuse me, potatoes. Any potato will work. I just cut them in half, and then again, basically cutting the whole potato in quarters, and then doing a thicker cut of the potato again allows it to cook for the 6 hours up to 8 and not get mushy, because you want to give this soup time while the potatoes will be cooked, you know, fairly quickly. You want the flavors to develop with the Italian seasoning and with the tomato paste. You'll get that richness. You'll get a lot more flavor if you just put your crock pot on high and cook it for 8 hours. Again, you can do, I'm sorry, not 8 hours, 6 hours. You can do it on low for 8 hours as well. It's really up to you and what time you need to eat and what time you got this going. All right, now that everything is cut up, I'm going to go ahead and add in the potatoes, carrots, onions into the crock pot. You're going to start to see that as I'm slowly adding them in, the water level is going to get really close to the top. So you just want to make sure that when you're doing this recipe, don't do more than 8 cups. That is the double recipe. My crock pot is a 6 or 7 quart, and that's all that it'll fill. So from here, we've got the ground beef. It's already done. I've already drained it, and it's ready to go into the crock pot. And so once I get that added in, I'm going to give it a good stir. But for the meat, when you brown it, you can decide whether or not you want to break it down further or if you want to leave it in chunks. I kind of like to leave the meat in chunks just because, it's nice to get a spoonful of the ground beef, because once this has cooked for 6 to 8 hours, the flavors have really developed and penetrated through the potatoes, the carrots, the onions, and the ground beef. It just is a really rich, wonderful soup. Again, this is my family's favorite. They've never been super big on soups, but this is the one they really love. So from here, before I do anything else, I'm going to add in about a teaspoon of salt. Now I'm just eyeballing it, so you can adjust that to your preference, especially those that need to cut back on salt. You could omit it altogether. I'm also going to do about a quarter teaspoon of pepper. I'm going to add in again. I just tend to eyeball things when it comes to spices, unless I'm baking. Then I definitely measure. But for this, it's totally fine. So I just give it a good stir just to get that salt and pepper incorporated. And then from here, I'm going to put the lid on and let it cook for the 6 to 8 hours. and then it will be ready to serve, and it will begin to smell so wonderful the closer it gets to it being done. All right, so now the soup is done, and this is what it'll look like after 6 to 8 hours of cooking. From here, just serve it up, and you can choose to serve it with crackers, cornbread, however you'd like. Just enjoy it by itself. I really appreciate you guys checking out this video. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoy the soup. Give the video a like, comment below, and if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. I have several more videos coming. Thanks again, guys.